A distant, distorted phone ringing. Heavy static hums in the background, barely audible beneath the sound of slow, deliberate breathing. The ringing repeats, each time more insistent, more unnatural. Then a whisper. Faint. Desperate. Whisper, distorted, trembling. Don't pick up, please don't pick up. The ringing persists. A low thud in the distance. The sound of something moving, something shifting in the darkness. The screen flickers. Then silence. It starts the way all strange occurrences do, as something small. Something insignificant. A sound. A sensation. A moment that feels off. You're alone. The house is still. The kind of quiet that settles deep, pressing against the walls, stretching into the corners of the room. It's late. Too late for calls. The phone rings again. You check the caller ID. Unknown number. No name. No location. Just an endless string of numbers, the kind that doesn't make sense. You hesitate. Your mind tells you to ignore it. But your hand, it moves on its own. Thumb hovering over the answer button. The call connects. The ringing stops. A heartbeat of silence. Then breathing. Shallow. Ragged. But it isn't coming from you. You listen. Straining. Hoping it's just static. Just interference. But then, a voice. Shaking. Strained. Unmistakable. It's you. Listen to me. I don't have much time. Whatever happens, do not open the door. Silence. A long, stretching pause. The words sink in, but before you can react. A knock. Loud. Sharp. Too close. The camera jolts. The phone screen flickers violently, static distorting the image. Another knock. Louder this time. The kind that demands attention. Your heart pounds. Your pulse hammers against your ribs. You turn toward the door, the shadows pressing in around it, stretching tall, curling against the floor. Another knock. The doorknob rattles just once. You swallow hard. Every instinct screams at you to move, to run. But you don't. Instead, you ask the only question that makes sense. Who's there? Silence. Nothing but the heavy hum of the phone still pressed to your ear. Then, a whisper. A response. But it doesn't come from behind the door. It comes from the phone. Don't answer. The phone cuts out. A long beep. A hollow, ringing silence. Then, the door creaks. Just slightly. Just enough. The screen glitches, static swallowing the frame. Then, darkness. This is not a warning you can ignore. Because what's waiting on the other side of that door has been waiting for a long, long time. Asterisk, the phone vibrates. The screen lights up. Unknown number. She stirs, her eyes fluttering open. The ringing is muffled, distant, like a sound underwater. Her fingers hover over the screen. Hesitant. Uneasy. Madison was home alone when she got the call. It was almost midnight. Too late for wrong numbers. Too late for casual conversations. She doesn't answer right away. She just stares at the screen, watching the name, unknown number, flash over and over. Something about it felt wrong, but her hand moved anyway, as if something was guiding it. The call connects. The ringing stops. Silence. For a long moment, there's nothing. Just an empty, open line. Then breathing. Soft. Unsteady. A voice. Faint. Trembling. Distorted through static. Madison, it's me. You have to listen. Whatever happens, do not open the door. She bolts upright. The sheets tangle around her legs. Her breath catches in her throat. The voice, it sounded like her own. Madison's fingers tighten around the phone. She swallows hard, forcing her voice to steady. Who is this? Another pause. The breathing on the other end sharpens, turns ragged. The voice speaks again, low, pleading. Madison, listen to me. You don't have much time. It's already inside. Her stomach clenches. A sharp, icy fear curls down her spine. A prank. It had to be a prank. Some sick joke. But then, knock. Loud. Sharp. From downstairs. Boom. Madison flinches. The phone nearly slips from her grasp. Her head snaps toward the bedroom door, her pulse hammering in her ears. The house is silent again. No movement, no sound, just the phone, still pressed to her ear. She wanted to believe it was her imagination, that maybe she had imagined the sound. But then, knock. Again.
Closer this time.
Not from the front door, but from inside the house. Her breath quickens. She grips the phone tighter. Her hands are shaking now. Madison, whispering, barely audible. Who's there? Silence. The tension stretches thin, unbearable. No answer. Just the low hum of static through the phone. But then, from the speaker, a whisper. A long, shuddering inhale. Then, it knows you're awake. Madison's stomach twists. A deep, primal fear coils inside her. Every nerve in her body screams at her to move. But she can't. She's frozen. Listening. Waiting. Then footsteps.
Slow.
Dragging. Coming up the stairs. Her breath catches. The doorknob rattles. Just slightly. Just enough. Then, black screen. Silence. Imagine this happening to you. You're alone. It's late. The phone in your hand, the voice on the other end is you. Madison's breath is ragged, uneven. Her hands shake, telling you something terrifying is about to happen. A low creak echoes through the house. The kind of sound wood makes when something heavy shifts its weight. What would you do? Hang up? Run? Or... Another pause, longer this time. Open the door? Another knock. Louder. More insistent.
Boom.
Madison gasps. The phone slips slightly in her grasp. The screen flickers, static curling at the edges like something unseen is pressing against it. Silence. No breathing. No movement. The house holds its breath with her. She tells herself she imagined it. That she's just tired. That this is just stress. But deep down she knows. Knows something is wrong. Madison slowly stands from the bed, bare feet against the cold wooden floor. The silence is deafening. She takes a step forward, then another. Her body feels heavy, as if something is pulling at her, dragging her toward the door. Every instinct in her body screams at her to stop, to turn around, to run. But then, pause. She notices something strange. Madison stops. Her breath shudders. Her eyes flicker to the mirror beside her. A long, gilded frame. The glass slightly fogged from her breath. But something isn't right. Her heart slams against her ribs. She blinks.
Once.
Twice. Her reflection isn't moving. She stares. Frozen. Her own eyes locked with whatever is inside the mirror. Madison's breathing quickens. But the reflection? It doesn't breathe. Doesn't blink. Doesn't move. Then, the reflection smiles. A slow, stretched, unnatural smile.
Teeth too white.
Too perfect. Too wrong. Madison stumbles back, her breath caught in her throat. The knock at the door is forgotten. The phone drops from her hand, clattering to the floor. This is when she should have run. The reflection tilts its head. Just slightly. Then, without warning, it moves. But not like a normal reflection. Not in sync. It moves first. Madison steps back. The reflection steps forward. She turns. The reflection doesn't. It just stands there, head tilted, grin wide, watching. The screen glitches. The lights flicker. A shadow behind Madison in the mirror grows taller, closer, stretching toward her like ink spilling across glass. And then she heard it. A voice. From the phone. From the mirror. From everywhere at once. Distorted voice, whispering, layered, wrong. It's not me. The screen distorts. The reflection lunges. Madison screams. Madison stands frozen. Her reflection, grinning, still, remains in the mirror. But something is different now. The reflection isn't just out of sync anymore, it's watching her. Studying. Then, the phone buzzes against the floor, the vibrations echoing through the silence. The call was still connected. The voice, her voice, was still there. Madison doesn't pick it up. She doesn't move. She just listens. A sharp inhale from the other end. Madison, listen to me. That thing outside, it's not human. Whatever you do. The call cuts out. A loud, piercing burst of static. Then, silence. Madison swallows hard. The air in the room shifts, feels heavier, colder. The knocking has stopped. Her gaze flickers back to the mirror. The reflection is gone. Her stomach drops. But something was still there. The air crackles. A faint sound, something between a whisper and a laugh, echoes from behind her. Her body stiffens. Slowly, her fingers curl around the doorknob. She doesn't want to open it, but something wants her to. She twists the handle. Slowly, the door creaks open an inch, then another. Then, black screen. A sudden, gut-wrenching scream. Static engulfs the screen. Then, silence. The next morning, Madison's apartment was found empty. A slow panned across an abandoned room. The bed, untouched. The mirror, shattered. The air, still. No signs of forced entry. No signs of struggle. Just gone. Her phone was found exactly where she had dropped it. The screen is still lit, the last call displayed. The number, her own. A final flicker. The phone screen glitches. Then, one last notification appears. A missed call. The number, unknown. But the strangest part? The call was received at 2:57 a.m., the exact same time it was placed. The screen distorts. A soft whisper echoes. Madison's voice. Then, black screen. The video ends. The screen lingers on the black void where Madison once stood. A faint static hum echoes in the silence. The phone on the floor flickers one last time before the screen goes completely dark. Was Madison taken? Did she step into another reality? Or was the call a warning she ignored? Tell me what you think happened in the comments below. And if you want more terrifying stories like this, make sure to subscribe and check out this next horror mystery.